What's going on? Happy Monday. Welcome to Monday Morning Motivation. Again, just bringing it every Monday to help you become the best version of yourself. That's the goal. Every single day, moving yourself forward, every day, every way. Today, we want to talk about really what it's going to take for you to get to that next level in mind, body, spirit, whatever the specific goal. If you have a specific goal, if you don't have a specific goal, that's a totally another topic, totally different topic. But whatever the specific goal is that you have, or just in general, I want to move forward in my faith. A lot of the guys that are joining our community, free community. If you haven't already joined it, make sure you join it. My name is Champion. It's on literally school.com/my dash name dash is dash champion. Make sure you join it. It's a growing movement to help men move forward internally and externally. But many, many, many of the men joining that community lately, it's really about growing in faith for them, right? Like, hey, like maybe I was raised in the church, but I haven't really pursued my relationship. Hey, if that's the goal, if the goal is having a better marriage, if the goal is being more present for your children, if the goal is advancing financially, maybe in your career or business, if the goal is getting in better shape, whatever it is, I want to cover what it will take. And ultimately, it comes down to commitment. But if you've heard us or heard me talk about the high performance pathway at all, there are really three steps to that. The first one is awareness. The second one is commitment. The third one is transcendence, where you take your eyes off of you and you start looking at how you can impact, right? Most people end up spending their entire life focused on them, how they can be better, how they can do better. And they lose sight that really it is about growing. It is about becoming. But the number one way that we can become, the number one way that we make an impact with the life is to help other people, right? It's not just about growing. It's so that we can grow and develop to make an impact. We have been called to impact. So if you haven't joined the community, make sure you do that. But I want to talk today about the three C's of success. Now, this comes down to and I'm going to share my screen here. We're going to fill this in together. But the three C's of success, hopefully you can see that. I don't know if you're watching on a phone or if you are on a computer. I know a lot of people, like, Mondays are busy, right? We've had a couple days over the weekend where most people just vegetate, they hang out, it's football season, kind of doing nothing meaningful in our lives when we look at the purpose that we're here. Like, and I'm not judging, right? I love sports. I played sports growing up. I love sports. I love watching football and all that. But just in general, right? Weekends for most people are not moving them forward. It's leisure time where we feel the sense of I get to relax, right? So I know Mondays are busy, but Monday morning motivation is to help you get on track. If you're not living the purpose that you truly feel called to live, like if there's something, like if you're like most godly men, you probably feel like your engine is misfiring. There's just something off. Like there's got to be more out there. Maybe it is in terms of like my marriage is lacking, right? I'm not talking about just another marriage. I'm talking about improving the commitment that you have, right? The commitment that you've made of making that relationship better. Or I feel like I could be a better father, right? Like most godly men feel like there's more out there and they're not living right now up to their true potential. So, in fact, I'm gonna preface this. We've talked about this before on other triple M's, Monday morning motivations, but the high performance pathway is ACT. So, awareness, commitment, and I can't spell right now. Transcendence. Okay, so there we go. Okay, awareness, commitment, transcendence. Awareness is really what it takes. You get to that, like, all growth, meaningful, purposeful growth starts with awareness. Saying, like, this is where I am, this is where I want to be. So For most of us, we are taught that education, learning stops after high school or college. And the only reason we're doing that in the first place is to go get a job, right? It's for your career, to go get a job, start a business, like whatever it is. But real growth starts after that. Real growth starts when you choose to be a man and you start living the roles that you are designed to play, meaning protection, provision, um, and ultimately connection, right? In the relationships that you have been given, blessed with, protection, physically, mentally, spiritually, provision, not just paying bills, but it goes deeper than that. Connection, the relationships, marriage, raising your children, and then direction, actually leading your family. Most of us have abdicated that because we're still acting and living like bullies, self-centered, focus on us. I have two sons. They're both young. Um, one is about to turn 5, one is about to turn 3. And when we're young, and this is not just boys, but children, it's always about me, 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 me. But most adults act the same way. Most men are pretending to be men, right? I'm not talking about being a male. I'm talking about most men are pretending to be men, acting like boys. So awareness starts when we actually get to the place where, like, you know what? I'm lacking. I'm not living up to my potential. I need more in life. And this can be any specific goal or it could be life in general, right? Like most of us, like when you really dive into the word, and again, most pastors, most churches, I grew up in the church, right? I've been in a ton of different churches. Um, and most pastors will not really emphasize the masculinity of like the Old Testament. Like you had guys that literally could stand there and destroy hundreds of other men. I'm talking about, like David's, for example, David's mighty men, like just true warriors, literally warriors. And then you have men today that no judgment, but all you do is play video games. So we've really lowered the bar. And this is a plan, by the way. This is not like, oh, like what a coincidence. No, it was planned out by the enemy. He's cunning. And he uses all sorts of things, which is why one of my favorite non-biblical quotes per se is the greatest evil is the apathy of good men. And we can talk about, just from a worldly stance, but also a spiritual stance. I've heard it said that the greatest achievement of the enemy was convincing people he doesn't exist. So you have a lot of people today, even men in the church, and most of the church is really a false church, following the ways of the world. But even men that truly have committed their life to Christ from a standpoint of like, he's my savior, but they have not committed in the paths to execute, right? Faith or works. Well, we're saved by faith in accepting the salvation that we have in Christ. But we express our faith through our works, and most of us are not putting in the work. Awareness is the beginning of it. You know what? It's time. It's time to rise up. We've seen how far our culture has fallen because the apathy of good men, because of the apathy, the lack of follow through, the excuses, the me, the I. We want to play all the games. And at the same time, a lot of people, like, they love the idea of success, but they have yet to fall in love with the work success requires. And I'm talking about, one specific thing, and I'm talking about in general. You need to start dedicating your life to excellence. One small thing leads to bigger things. So you want to get in better shape. You want to get in better shape, but you won't even commit to better habits that lead to being in better shape. It's not rocket science. Like, you want a better marriage, but you won't even commit to investing time into the relationship. Well, she just doesn't get me, and I can't understand her, and all we do is fight and argue. Like, how much time do you actually invest into it? Like, have you actually read any books, like good biblical principle based marriage books to give you perspective? Oh, I don't really like to read. I don't like, for example, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn or anything, but my wife, she coaches women. And many times women are just complaining about their husbands. And obviously, the heart of the problem is the problem of the heart. If your heart's not in the right place, meaning you actually want to fix something, all you want to do is complain, all you want to do is say everything is someone else's fault. That's not going to improve anything, right? But if one of these women like, hey, I do want to improve, I do want to have a better marriage, I do like, and my wife will give some perspective or ask some questions like, hey, like, okay, what about maybe taking turns cooking dinner or doing this or doing that? And so many times the women say, like, my husband would never do that. He would never help with that. He would never help with that. He would never help with that. He would never do this. He would never do that. And I think so many times us men have forgotten what being a man actually is. Just because you have a job that pays more than your wife doesn't mean you shouldn't be doing things around the house too to help. Marriage is commitment 100, 100, not 50-50. I make the money, you do everything in the house. Like, hey, having a job as a man, like that's bottom of the totem pole. That doesn't make you special. It doesn't make you better. It doesn't mean you fulfilled your role. I'm providing. Yeah, so you act nice all day, but then when you're around your wife and kids, you're a jerk and you don't care and you don't put in the effort to serve your wife. It's always about you. So acting like a child, right? Awareness is where it starts. And then commitment with this, it's to a plan that works. It's not just a pie in the sky, like I'm committed to being better. All right, what's the plan? I don't really have one. You have to execute a proven plan if you're actually committed. It's like the faith without works thing. You can't say like, oh, I trust God and He's guiding me and directing me. I'm like, okay, so like, what have you done to show that, to prove that? Well, I haven't done anything. Like, I want to be in better shape. Like, well, then why are you still getting fast food every day? Well, because I'm still able to. Like, no, just stop. Just stop lowering the bar. Just stop like picking and choosing what you're going to do. So commitment to a plan that works. Now, in order to do this, in order to actually make this happen, so it's not, there we go. We need to look at the 3 C's of success. Okay. The 3 C's of success. Now, sometimes people don't want to hear this because they're not serious about commitment. They're not serious about following through. So they don't want people calling them out on these 3 C's. Coaching, community, direction. Now, we are taught as a whole, we're taught as a whole that as men, especially now, men compared to women are less relational, they're less emotional. And I'm not saying expressing emotion is bad. In fact, most men need to express more emotion, myself included. But we don't want to be controlled by emotion, okay? But talking about men, we have been taught to be loners. We have been taught to show no emotion, suck it up. It's all okay, even when it's not. Now, here's the thing. I'm not advocating for the like being weak mentally sort of thing, right? But let's look at the things that we have been showed. Like after high school, just go get a job and make it happen. You meet a girl, you get married, you have kids. It's like a natural progression. But most of us are doing life absolutely alone, set up to fail. Period. That's the formula, which is why divorce rates are at all-time high. Because it's kind of like, okay, if no one ever, and the hardest thing you will do is be a good man because it's multifaceted, it's purpose driven, and most of us are missing the purpose. We're not living out the roles. We're not filling the shoes that God designed for us because we were never taught. And most of us aren't even aware. We're not even focused on it at all, which is a losing formula. Imagine even, I mean, being like 10 years old and someone giving you a calculus test and you never even took any class in math, like basic. You don't even know how to count to 10, let alone do calculus. Well, you're obviously going to fail it. And that's how life is. Because most of us in our 20s, 30s, 40s are living like a child, acting like a child. But we say, well, because I have a job and I pay my bills, like I'm good, I'm a man. Like, no. That's why we find every other avenue other than real success, other than purpose-driven success, living for Christ and ultimately having an incredible marriage, raising phenomenal children. You know that the people in your life are the only things you can take with you when you die. Not right when you die, but the only things that you can take to heaven. The souls of the people you love, the souls of the people you impact. Life is not about stuff. Life is not about paying bills. Obviously, everything in life takes money. Money is not everything. So to feel that like I accomplished all that I needed to accomplish because I can pay my bills, like, hey, that's good, but that's the bottom of the totem pole. Like I said, we need to think bigger. Like that's just the beginning, man. Or if you run a business, like, oh yeah, I did it, I'm so cool. Like, hey, that's great, but that's just the beginning for you. Is that all you want out of life? And most businesses, from my experience, helping people start and run businesses, is that it's just a solopreneur, someone who's self-employed. So really, they just went out and created a job for themselves, and now they spend the best hours of their day every day making money. And again, there's nothing wrong with money, but you need perspective and you need balance. Again, awareness. But the commitment to a plan starts with the 3 C's of success. And I'm not talking about the tangible stuff, but it comes down to coaching. We've been set up to fail. Getting around someone that is actually moving in the right direction. Now, here's the problem that I believe many godly men make is they receive coaching either from no one or from people that don't actually have the life they want. They, okay, and here's the thing. And I'll break this down further. So they either receive coaching from no one, or it's from the wrong person, typically from people that don't have anything that they want, like people that you grew up with or people that you know of, friend of a friend, whatever, but they don't have anything that you want. They're just familiar. It could even be your parents. You love them and you should respect them. But if they don't have the marriage you want, if they don't have the finances you want, if they don't have the spiritual life you want, if you see a lot of turmoil and dysfunction in your family, stop taking advice from your parents or even your grandparents. They don't know. So unless you want what they have, you need to stop. Or it could be, high school buddies, college buddies, whatever, that, they don't have the marriage. Maybe they do have the career, right? Or maybe they have the marriage, but not the finances, or like stop it, because life is not about winning in one area. It's about being successful holistically, mind, body, and spirit, power, passion, purpose, and production. They need to be moving forward in every single area of life That's who you should be plugging into. I see a lot of Christian men, godly men, taking business advice from people that are not even Christian. Like, guys, business is not so complicated that you need to seek out a non-godly person to get advice from. I'm not saying they're bad people, but the way that they live their life would be different than a true follower of Christ. Obviously, there's a lot of people pretending to be godly, right? So it's like either from people that have nothing you want or only one thing that you want, rather than being coached, guided, mentored by people that are walking forward. I'm not saying, because here's the other thing too. Like, well, I know more than that person. Okay, like book smarts. I'm smarter than that person, but they have better results. So why don't you humble yourself? Come down off your high horse and submit yourself to people that actually have what you want. Even if you may know more about a certain subject, if you don't have the results in all areas, you need to shut up and listen. Coaching. Who's speaking into your life? The next one is community. We are taught to take on life by ourselves. We're not taught who to listen to. And for most of us, the only community we have is either online with, again, people that are not going anywhere, or offline in person with people who are not going anywhere. And I'm talking about holistically. You need to be plugged into men, real men that are living out purpose and executing. Now, again, like I was raised in the church and I've been around a lot of churches as an adult as well. And what I found a lot was a lot of like churches, like the building. Remember, the original church was a lifestyle. It was a movement. It was not a building. But they were doing life together, making an impact together. What I have found is that most churches, when they talk about, oh yeah, brotherhood and being together, it's like getting together, whether it be once a week or once a month, just to hang out. But no one's really doing much other than promoting those events to hang out. That's what I notice. It's like most of the guys are like nice guys. They're not impact players. They're not warriors. They're not champions. It's kind of like the friend zone, right? No one growing up, no one wanted to be placed in the friend zone. Oh, he's a nice guy. He's fun to be around. But don't you want to be like that warrior, that champion who's living life on the edge, who's just literally walking in faith? Most Christian men have no clue what walking in faith even is. You may say like I believe Christ is the Son of God. He is Lord, and God raised him from the dead. I accept him as my Savior. Okay, that's great. I'm not talking about faith for salvation. I'm talking about him being like most of us would say Jesus is king, but would you say he's your commander? Is he actually in charge? Are you submitted to his will? No, we're winging it. You either have no community, or typically it's a community of people, maybe you have a shared experience of like high school. But it's like if your time consists of only drinking, talking, watching stuff on TV, sports, whatever, that's not beneficial. And in the church, again, I'm not judging. I'm not saying people are bad. I'm just trying to help you. I'm not calling you out. I'm calling you up. That most of the time we're not really thinking about it. Obviously, if men are helping you grow spiritually, that's fantastic. Make sure they're also helping you grow physically, being in the best shape, challenging you that way, emotionally, relationally. And many times transparency is tough because maybe you've been burnt by other people and you don't want to be transparent. You don't want to open up with people. Like I've been there, done that. People burn you. A lot of narcissistic behavior, a lot of posturing, and a lot of, I mean, shoot, all sorts of just weird activity things like that I've dealt with in the past in like business and even churches. right? Where it's like, oh yeah, brother, we're all in, we're committed, we want to do life together. And then as soon as you're either going through something or feel led to do something, then you're cast out. People deal with that stuff all the time. So I understand that. But you need to be plugged into people and transparent with people that can really help. Coaching, community, and then last but not least, through coaching, through community, you must be willing to receive correction. And that's what real brotherhood includes. So if you say, I want to be better, I want to be better in my marriage. Okay. What men that are living and succeeding with the four pillars: power, passion, purpose, and production. Power is really taking care of your physical body, the temple that God gave you, the gift God gave you, being in the best shape or working to be in the best shape of your life, like treating it seriously. Passion, the relationships in your life, the marriage, raising your children. Purpose, actually walking in accordance to God's will for your life. And then production, controlling money so it doesn't control them, whether they are employed or building businesses, whatever. What men are speaking into your life? What men have you said, like, I'm in covenant with them and they can speak into my life, we're transparent, and they help me, they push me, iron sharpens iron, they help me grow. If you want to be better, that's what you need. And that ultimately is what we're building in My Name is Champion. It's not for everyone. It's not meant to be for everyone. But this is your wake up call. If you're not living the way that you want to live, stop pretending you're going to fix it and actually just fix it. Stop pretending. Oh, one day. Stop putting it off, because you literally do not know. I just yesterday, and I put football on a little bit on the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, so the boys can watch it and be kind of engaged in it as they grow up. Um, and they talk about I saw the story of Ricky Pearsall, the receiver for the 49ers, where he got shot and all that. And it just makes me think, like, you literally do not know if you'll be here tomorrow. So stop putting things off. Today is the best day to start. In our My Name is Champion community, we even have Champion Protocol: daily, weekly, monthly habits that you can implement. All the guesswork is removed. How to grow your faith, worship word right. How to advance mentally, just reading every day. We even have a full book list: success principle books, leadership books, relationship books, even some spiritual books. How to get in better shape, daily habits that you can implement: drinking more water with the minerals that you need, the electrolytes that you actually need, exercising, doing cardiovascular training, strength training, things that you can implement that if you're serious, you get it done. When people say, I don't have time for that, it's just not a priority. So stop making excuses. You want to be better for your family, or do you want to see your wife leave? I mean, I hate to put it that way. Do you want to be better for your kids, or when they grow up, do you want them to not even care about you? Hey, and we all have faults, we all have flaws because of how we're raised. You have the opportunity to change that. You have the opportunity to draw the line in the sand, in the concrete, whatever you want to say. It's on you. It's on your shoulders. And yes, that is a big weight to bear. Get over it. You were chosen for a reason. So the time is now. On this Monday, I don't care what you have going on today. You need to start committing. If you're not in the free community, join the free community. The link is in the description. And if you're not actively engaged in a plan to execute, let's get going. Life is short. You literally do not know how much time you have left.